In the year of 1941, there was a devastating Japanese attack that changed the course of American history. The devastating event was Pearl Harbor, and it was a surprise attack by the Japanese on the Americans, which led to America to join World War II. The conflict of this was where the USS Arizona was bombed, which was a huge loss of money and also was a huge moment in which we entered World War II. The compromise was that the U.S. recovered from the attack and ended up winning the war against Japan. And now to this day, the U.S. and the Japanese remain in peace. The impact was that if the USS Arizona wasn't destroyed, it could have played a big role in naval combat.
The USS Arizona was a battleship which was first commissioned and launched during World War I on October 17, 1916. It was mainly used as a training ship. It still had a crew of over 1,500 men, 1,100 of which died on board the ship.
We're going to now play a recording of the interview with one of the 3 remaining survivors of the USS Arizona. His name is Donald Stratton.
What was it like to be a crewman on the Arizona?
Well, it's just like any other thing. You go aboard a ship, you're a crewman, and you start your in divisions and engineers and aircraft maintenance, deck maintenance, and whatever. You do your job, and that's it. It's just like that.
What was going through your head when the Navy declined after you recovered?
Well, I spent a year in the hospital after that. I was burned over about 70% of my body. And I spent about a year in the hospital at Mare Island, and they sent me to Corona, California. And I was up for about a year and a little over, and I re-enlisted and went back in, went to Farragut, Idaho. They sent me to Treasure Island, and I went to D406 USS Stack, and we made 5 more in raid, all the way from Hollandia, New Guinea, City Gulf, Luzon Gulf, Okinawa, back to the States, and through electrical hydraulic school, and was discharged in December of 19second time.
Another question we have is, did you know any of the other survivors of the attack?
Yes, I do. There's 5 of us. I know I'm probably closer to a couple than the rest of them. Builder and I went across the line together to the vessel to get off the line. He's born his place, and one in Oklahoma or something, New Mexico coast, so.
Wow, thank you.
Colorado Springs.
Oh, another question we have is, what was it like the morning before the attack?
Well, just like any other morning. Started reveille and waking up, get out on deck and a little clean sweep down rather than Holy Stone paint. It was Sunday, and the chow, and the chow house sounded chow, and we had chow, and got up from chow, and going to go to my locker, and went to my locker. There was a lot of disturbance and everything else, and I walked out the hatch and one turn, and then hollering, and went to see what was going on, and one of the Jap made a turn, and I could see the insignia on the wing, and I knew we were in trouble, and I started from on the clear up on the foremost on where the directors for an aircraft we were down. I was a site set and a port director, and I had to go up about to get to the battle station, and then we flew for the planes and we took a big bomb, and it went into our ammunition, and the boat part of the ship off, and we lost another.
Oh.
And I had to crawl across the line to the vessel. repair ship does the work hand over hand about 60, 70 feet after we were burnt, and from there to the hospital, and from there to hospital to Mare Island, about a year.
Thank you. You are a big help, and we appreciate your time. Thank you for your service, and we are glad to have people like you in our nation.
All right, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Donald Stratton, a great American hero. He showed us how to get through a tough, intense situation, even in a time of distress. He pulled through. Also, he proved that America is stronger than they thought, and no one is out till they're out.
Moving on. The Arizona was originally constructed in 1914, and it cost $16 million. Nowadays, it would cost over $396 million.
It was commissioned on October 17th, 1916, and was decommissioned the 29th of December, 1941, 22 days after the attack. The Arizona was first hit in the hull by 3 torpedoes and hit once in the ammunition chambers for the rear turrets, causing a huge explosion, throwing the ship into the air.
The ship lasted 14 minutes before it sunk under the water, but since it was refilled with oil the day before, it burned for 3 days. It still leaks oil today, but very slowly at the bottom of the ocean. The memorial stays in the ocean with all of the people who passed aboard the ship. Some survivors wanted to be sent off with the ship when they died. Their final resting place was with the people they served with.
Pearl Harbor is the resting place of the Arizona and most of its crew. Even though it was meant to continue its journey, it was unfortunately taken out by the Japanese.
Some pilots were partying the night before, which led them to sleeping in longer and less rest before the attack.
The type of bomb dropped on the USS Arizona was a Type 99 anti-ship bomb. It weighed 1,763 pounds. That's the equivalent of a full-grown large bison. USS Arizona weighed 29,630 tons. That's equal to 2,370 school buses and had 4 14-inch triple turrets.
The USS Arizona wasn't in any real battle, except for Pearl Harbor. In fact, it never fired a shell at an enemy target. It was very hard for the survivors, as they suffered major burns and post-traumatic stress disorder. As for the people who died on December 7th, we will always remember them for their heroic actions.
After the attack, the United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt presented a very historical speech, the infamous speech. This speech stated that we would be entering World War II against the Japanese Empire. 4 years later, in 1945, the Japanese were forced to surrender the war to the United States, hence bringing conflict to a compromise. In this attack, more than half of the people killed were on the USS Arizona, which is a Pennsylvania-class battleship, one of the larger classes. The majority of the people that perished on the ship were soldiers that were half asleep, still getting ready. These people got trapped when the ship sank. In the end, 1,177 men were killed on this ship alone. Many more were lost on December 7th, 1941.
On a distant shore, a maid with a way of whispering, "Si, senor."